Okay, good morning. So we are starting this out. Um, Basically, I'll give you a quick update or kind of a recap. So basically, what we're going to do is we are going to dig out uh, computers, laptops, really, from recycling, and it's going to basically be a situation where I'm going to try to pull like ones. In other words, ones that take the same charger. The charger I've hooked up right now is this one, which will power up a Dells and HPs, like a little bit older HPs. But I've got 4 machines here, and we'll try each one, see what works, and we will go ahead. I'll weigh this whole stack right here. I'll weigh it, see what it would cost, or sorry, see what it would earn with just recycling it versus the parts that we can use out of them. I don't know that there will be any situation where we'll have more money in recycling than we will with just taking the motherboard or whatever out. I'm going to try to stay away from screens because here's the thing. Putting the motherboard on eBay, especially if you price it competitively, that'll sell. But if something costs, let's say $30, that's why I avoid that. Not really because my time's not worth it, but it just doesn't make sense to put a $30 motherboard up and then compete with 10,000 other people, to nickel and dime it like that, and then pretty soon you're stuck with 15 shelves full of stuff on eBay that doesn't sell. So we're looking for the more expensive things, because with the more expensive things, I can lower the price to the low end of what it sells for. As I said in a prior video, if let's say this motherboard in this, let's say it's sold, let's say it's listed all over the place for $100, and let's say the last few sold for $80, $85, I'll list mine at $75. So therefore I can move it. But even though I could hold on to it, make 10, 15 bucks more, this was going to recycling. I mean, this is $4 probably, maybe a little less. $4, $5, $3. So it's worth it. Okay, so let's get started. Totally excited to do this. Okay, so number one is a Windows 7 machine. But the reason I pulled this one out, I should also say I'm not going to pull out piece of crap ones. I'm going to pull out ones that are either new-ish or ones that had proved in the past to be worth a little bit of money, like special editions or Beats ones, things like that. This particular one is an i5. That's why I pulled it out. And another thing going to keep in mind in some cases are things like palm rests. Like this palm rest is just messed up right here, like it got cracked and they glued the heck out of it or something. So anyway, what we're going to do first is see if this turns on. Move that out the way. All right. Okay, we got a light. And on these, you're looking for a flashing cap lock if there's a problem. And we do have a screen. Okay. Put quite simply, this is money in the hand. We don't know how much yet, but we'll see. HP offers diagnostics. I don't know if there's even a hard disk in this, but it offers diagnostics. So with each one, we might as well go through it, and we'll go with, let's see, we'll go with startup test. I think that's the one we want. Test the memory, which doesn't matter because we're not selling the memory. We take that off and recycle it. So press escape to skip memory test. Alright. Hard disk does not exist. Okay. Alright. So run in test. That's going to do the memory as well. Okay. So everything looks to be working just fine. The video's good. The keyboard interface is great. No troubles. Okay. So now we'll just go ahead and get this pulled out. And again, old screen, not worth really anything. So let's see how quickly we can get this apart. Keep in mind too that this is boring, so I actually learned how to speed up in editing this spot, so this part here will go super fast. All right, so here we go. Okay, I've got the board out, but I typically take all of this off too, so I can give the board a good cleaning. Okay, there's a couple things to note about this board. One is when you have a heatsink that has more than one pad like this, that means that it's cooling off not only the CPU, but also the GPU, the graphics card, the chip, NVIDIA or ATI in this case. And that's usually an indication that it's a pretty decent board. Now, this board's a bit older than I realized. They haven't made this sort of thing in a long time. This is where you can actually turn the screw right here and pop out the CPU. For many years, CPUs have been attached to the board. Okay, the reason I wanted to pull this out was because HP has a part number on everything. There we go, 659094-001. Even the RAM has its own little part number on there. And the cool thing about that is that whenever you list this on eBay, you can list the part number, and that will give you, if the person that buying the part isn't a complete idiot, they will have put that number in to find your exact board. Also, this is a decent processor, i5 I think it was. So this is going out with it. I have no use for it. It's worth pennies. But maybe they'll use it. Maybe that's a little bit better than the one they've got. Okay, so what we're going to do now is go to eBay and see what this thing goes for. Okay, so we are going to put in the actual, let me get rid of these tabs here. Hey, just to butt in, I apologize. I'm still getting used to making these videos. I accidentally didn't switch cameras to the screen on this first one, so I did after that, but I missed doing it on this particular one, so sorry about that. Just kind of try to follow along, and back to the video. Okay, we're going to put the actual part number, so it's 659094-001. Okay, so here we go. Let's see what this thing goes for. All right, there we go. This is a great starting out example. $4, $3, maybe $5. Now we have a working board, and we are fixing to make a bunch of money compared to what we were going to. Okay, that's why even an old board like this, look at this. Okay, but here's a trick. Do not go by these prices. Look at the difference. Same exact part number, but look at the difference. And both of these people have crappy feedback. I mean, that's terrible. This is not that great. Coming from China, coming from Japan. Okay, coming from China. So things are to look at are a few things. Number one, we only have 4. Excuse me. We only have 4 listed on eBay for this exact part. So you got your sellers in a good place. Okay, so it's worth your time. So go down here, click on sold, not completed, but sold. See what the last few sold for. None sold. Okay, well, that's none as in maybe 30 days or something. So it's not a real popular board, and there's only 4 listed. But here's why. Here's why I would still list this one. I would still list it because you've got 3 on here, and they're all out of the country. China, Japan, and China. So if somebody comes across this, you're going to be the only guy in you'll be the only guy at all that is selling this. Okay, so there you go. Nice. Okay, so let me look at one other thing here, let me show you one other thing that I come up with. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I have put together this spreadsheet. Now, the recycling profit, that's what we would make were we to, like, if we come across one of these that's just dead, then it'll go to recycling still. If it turns on, we'll do some research on it, see what the parts are worth. Now, this one here, so far, 0, because we're sending this off. So looking at what they're going for here, I'm going to price mine $50. That's not bad, right? By the way, I should say that I never pay for shipping. This is because if somebody decides to return something, even though I test everything, let's say they got the wrong one or whatever, I'm not paying shipping there and then for them to send it back. So I always make them pay shipping, and it makes them less likely to return things. Okay, so let's say we're going to put $55. I think that's actually good. So after eBay fees, our profit now is $46.78 with 0 money from recycling. Okay, so the only thing we're going to be out is a box, which in my shop I have stockpiling boxes. Okay, so that's item number 1. All right, let's look at the next one. Okay, let's look at the next one. We're going to put that motherboard aside. Oh, and by the way, all of these parts, these are all hitting the trash. They're not worth anything. And we've just made our money. So all of this stuff is going to the trash. So I didn't actually plan to have this area as a workbench type area. This was supposed to be just for the micro soldering and things like that. But that's okay. That's okay. Do what we got to do. All right. Item number 2, another HP. I pulled this one out because it's a Windows 8 machine, which means it's fairly newish, and it looked pretty cool. This is an i5. Check it out. That's why it's in recycling. Smashed screen. Even the screen panel is busted. Okay. So let's see. I will bet this one actually works because of the fact that it is just cosmetic damage. Okay, so look at this. That is a little dodgy, but now it seems to be okay. At first, it didn't really give us consistent light. All right, so there we go. Power button. It's turning on. Let's see if we get anything on this screen. Well, it's not turning off. Ah, look at this. 1, 2, 3. It's giving us 3 beeps on the cap lock. In my experience with HPs, that's usually an error with RAM. So most likely, I took the RAM out of this. Of course, HP is really weird about using these real strange proprietary screws. 1 second. All right. What? Maybe it's the wrong size. There we go. Hey, so if when we're done here, if anybody in the next, a little bit during the course of these videos, if anybody else decides to go to a local computer place or whatnot and see if they can scoop up some of these, then I think it would be really awesome to hear another person say, hey, it's all your videos, Bob, and I went to this computer joint. They gave me, 28 laptops that were literally falling apart, but I made $500 on them in one day. That'd be cool. Okay, so this is an HP, so I typically try to put the HPs are sometimes finicky about RAM, but this is actually RAM that just came out of another HP. So I'll use that to hopefully start this up. And then I'm going to show you a trick where we may not actually open this up, where we can kind of gauge the value of it without even getting into it. All right, turning it on now on an HP. Hit escape. Tap it, tap it, tap it. I think it's going to boot up. Nah, we're still getting 3. We're still getting 3 blinking lights. 3. Thought that was a RAM issue, but let's just switch out the RAM. We'll switch it out one more time. I'm just going to put 1 stick in. Ah, there we go. Look at that. We have a screen. Now, it's doing funky stuff. That's okay. The screen's shattered. So let me show you what I'm going to do. I have another input to this right here. The 4th channel or whatever right here is HDMI. And I'll see if we switch to that, I'll see if we get any display. And I may have to turn it back on, but here we go. Let's see. Look at that. We actually have display on this. Okay, so what I'm going to do I said I was going to show you something. So let's do this. Control-Delete to restart it. And if we hit escape on an HP, for instance, a Dell would be F2. But if we hit escape, watch what happens. See if it shows it. Nah. Well, if the screen was working and you hit escape, it will allow you to press F1 for system information. This will give you the CPU, and also we already have the model number. We have the model number here. So putting the CPU and model number together, then we know what board it is with very little doubt. All right, I'll unplug this. So in this business, if you do something like this, have a monitor that has HDMI laying around, and of course old school VGA. That's the blue thing with the two screws. All right, but in this case, we got the model number of the board right there in front of us. Cool. Okay, so we're going to go back to eBay. And let's see. We got 799552. 799552-601. Let's see. Look at that. Okay. Now here's the thing to look at. China, 156 bucks. China, 179 bucks. Same exact part. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind. The question is, why is China charging $150 when this one appears to be the same one for 40 bucks? Well, maybe they've got, I don't know, maybe they've got 5,000 of them, and maybe they're all filed away in one crate, and if they wait long enough, you know, somebody will buy them. Like, for instance, what if there was not this one? What if this was sold? All that's left is these $158 ones. Of course, this is 35, 65, 59, 79, 173. So, in this case, check this out. Let's go with sold, and you'll see what they're selling for. Only one has sold, and it was in November. 32 bucks. So, in this situation, because only one sold and it was, what, 2 months ago? And the rest are sitting there. This is the one that I'm gonna call it, at least in my opinion, not worth it. Okay? So, I am going to say that I am not going to take this apart. It's not worth my time. I'll sit on this for months before it sells. Okay? So in this case, now we're going to go ahead and go back to our spreadsheet. And in this one, I think maybe a rule of thumb, let's do $4 on every single laptop on average for profit, for recycling money. Okay? So now we are at $4 in that. All right, so I'm going to set this one aside. That will go into the. I have all those laptops you might have seen in that photo, and then in the back I have some like final ones, which means they're going to, these final ones are going to recycling regardless, not messing with them anymore, kind of thing. Okay. See what I mean about these things just mostly working, but they were there for reasons like the busted screen or just old and beat up. Okay, so this one is actually A very, very old machine, very problematic, very Walmart, not worth anything. I can tell you already, this one is not going to be sold, just because it is not worth anything. I can tell you that. If anything, this motherboard is $20, because it's a single core, maybe dual core processor. So I'm actually going to unplug this, put it to the final one. Okay. So that means we're going to go back here. We'll add $4 more to that. All right. So now we are going to be on our last one. And if I'm being honest, same thing. I don't want to fix this. This thing's worth nothing. Core 2 Duo XP. This is likely nearly 20 years old. But just for the hell of it, we'll plug it in. Hit power. Whoops. Yeah, no power on this one. This one's dead, apparently. I'm not getting a light where the charger is or anything, but that's okay. There's reasons these things are in recycling. Okay, so this one will go to recycling. And finally, go back here to our spreadsheet. Gonna call it $12. Okay, so we made $60, basically $60 in a matter of 30 minutes. So that's what this whole video series is all about. I think that went really well. Again, if you guys decide to go down the route of doing this sort of thing, like putting together a system for yourself where you can do this, then that's pretty awesome, and I'd love to hear about it. So I have a minimum, okay, do the math here. I have a minimum of 200 laptops back there, and that was 4 of them, okay? So if that's fact, then that means I have 50 times more back there, and that's only the laptops I've got in the back. Okay? So 50. If I'm just made $60, that means I can reasonably assume I can make $3,000 on what's left. So that's the whole point of this, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. I'm going to go ahead and upload this one. And again, I don't really read comments so much, but I noticed when people hit like. So if you do like the video and you think it's going to be a kind of a cool thing to do, then go ahead and hit the like button, and please subscribe. I'm looking forward to hitting 100. I mean, that's not a big deal, but for me, it kind of is. It's kind of a little milestone. And it helps me keep motivated to keep doing this. Notice that I did not use any kind of these things. I didn't use thermal camera. I didn't use heat gun. Simply screwdrivers. And a razor blade to get in there and kind of clip it open. That's all I used right there. But if you can get into this as even a side hustle on the weekends, imagine just going to garage sales and picking something up for $5. That works. And you'll get an idea as time goes on what's worth something and what's not, and then you can turn $5 into 50. All right. Okay. Hey, thanks for watching, and I will close this out, and we'll talk again soon. See ya.